Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress Comic News, episode 414. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my co-host here, Mike.
Hello. Nothing much. I figured since, we don't have an interview today and we kind of started the last podcast off on a sad note, why don't you grace us with a little bit of the good news you have from this weekend, Chris? That'd be a nice little yin to the yang, as they say.
Yeah, probably won't be any show and tell,
No.
but we adopted a new kitty.
Yeah.
Walked into the same adoption center where I got Greedo, and was showing my girlfriend like this. This is where he was. Where I was, reminiscing and having a moment. And I walk in, the same cage that Greedo was in was this cat. It was like a little bit over a year old, so still kind of a kitten, but grown up. And it was everything I told her before Greedo had passed. I was like, I want to get this kind of cat, female, this old, all this stuff to be his friend. And she was it. It was a little torty, little girl. And then we sat down with the adoption people, and she told me, like, yeah, she just got out of the treatment and everything. She came from home. She had fleas, so they had to like put her aside for a little bit and treat her. She's all better from that. And then was like introduced to the other cats and to get characteristics of her for the adoption and everything, and introduced to some dogs to see all these kinds of things they do at these adoption clinics. And then spayed and all that, given all her shots, and was put in that morning, which same thing happened with Greedo.
Yeah.
By the way.
Right.
It really mirrors him so much. And then we sat in the room with her, my girlfriend, and the lady who's telling us all the characteristics, and she immediately just jumps on my lap and just lays there,
Nice,
hanging out. Like whenever I stopped petting, she would like butt her head against my hand.
Nice.
And I was ready to adopt her in that moment because I'm a sucker and I easily fall in love, Mike, especially with animals.
Yep.
But what really sold it was the lady goes, and just so you know, because it matters to people, some people, like, she's the runt to the litter, so she's going to be tiny. And for those who don't know, it's my last name.
It was meant to be.
I was like, well, you already sold. You didn't have to sell harder. And the lady laughs. And then I had to hand her my license and everything so she could put all the information down. Yeah. She just looks at it and goes, I understand the joke now. She's like, yeah.
That's awesome. And what's her name?
So we brought her home, named her Ahsoka.
Hell yeah.
Because as I told the missus, the rule is you name all the pets after Star Wars characters. Of course. And I don't make the rules. I just follow them.
Yep. Those rules were established long before.
Yeah. And she always looks at me and goes, I'm pretty sure you made the rules. I was like, I know what you're talking about, lady.
They've been there. Written in stone. Yep.
That's awesome. So, and Greedo was the first of that lineage. Like, he was the first pet I had that I named after a Star Wars character. So, it also kind of, like, continues his lineage a little bit, which makes me happy. Yeah, and she's been just this loving, caring little thing.
Nice.
Sleeping with me at night, hanging out.
Nice.
But
that's great.
She's also a little timid, so she's probably hiding under my couch
right now. She hasn't been running around the house dual-wielding lightsabers?
She's done a little bit of that, yes. Especially since I sprayed the catnip spray on her scratching post, because there will be no scratching of my furniture.
Yes. Yep.
So to get them used to it, that's one of the training techniques, is spray that every so often so they're attracted to it. And last night I sprayed some on a few of them, and I discovered that she's one of those cats that when she gets catnip, she's
goes crazy.
Crack addict or a cocaine addict.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Just running around the house like crazy.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
That's great. Well, I'm happy for you. Yeah. That's really cool. And she's adorable.
Yeah, it's been nice having something.
Yeah. Maybe
nice having a pet in the house again.
Maybe she'll stop
Much
by.
as I miss the little guy Greedo, but
yeah, we all miss the little Greedo. But maybe she'll make an appearance sometime.
I'm sure she will. She's very personal. She has these moments where she just wants to like go hide.
Same.
Yeah.
I feel that. I can totally relate.
So do I. My hiding place is just much bigger.
Yeah, you just have a bigger hiding. Yeah, you have a lot of different rooms to hide.
Yes. I have a whole house to hide from the world.
Yeah. Speaking of hiding and watching things, new episode of Daredevil came out. We're one step closer to Daredevil putting the costume on, but hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like we're redoing the Netflix series.
Almost.
Like we gotta slowly,
I mean, overall, I think it was a good episode. I mean, if we didn't see the Punisher in this episode, I probably would have gotten I probably would have been upset. But seeing him, even though it was for one conversation, was really good. I hope we see more of him. I'm not sure we will.
It was necessary to see him in this episode after what happened. I think we'll see more of him in like dribs and drabs, but he does have. I remember he has a one-shot like mini movie coming out.
That's right. Yeah.
On Disney Plus, so we'll get a whole lot of him soon.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I thought the first half of the episode was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
I get it. He's a lawyer, so we got to talk about the legal system a little bit. But that seemed like we went a little too hard on like the legal system's broken.
Right.
I'm like, okay, cool. Can you put on the red suit and fight somebody?
Yeah,
please?
yeah. He's like, he's got to like really, really drive it home that like, okay, I need like, is this the reason? He's like, I got to put the suit on and punch people. Like, come on.
Well, I just thought they got way too hard on and mind you, I point certain things out because I think it's important to the context of it. But he's given this new client, and it happens to be a black guy with a rap sheet, and the guy gives him like this whole story of why
the system's
fucking them and all this. All stuff like great to talk about.
Right.
I'm not like shitting on that, but I just want to see Daredevil in the red suit, like
I know,
throwing fucking
it's
things
great
around.
to bring light to these issues, but like, I want to see Daredevil come back.
Yeah, like I didn't need to waste half the episode on this.
Yeah,
I think there's other very appropriate places for that conversation, but
I think the main thing is like you see him and Kingpin, like they haven't like as much as they think they've changed in this episode, they haven't. Like Kingpin's sitting down eating an unhealthy dinner. He's got the dude locked up in the basement, and Daredevil's still practicing his kung fu moves on a rooftop somewhere.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, we're a year past the events of the first episode, the first 10 minutes of the first episode, and we're seeing them like believe that they've changed and are doing better because of it. But
they really haven't dealt with it.
Yeah, they're just moving right back into their old habits.
They're just powering through it and not doing what they should be. But
I'm waiting for Matt Murdock to figure out that his girlfriend is the Kingpin psychiatrist.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you're like one layer away.
Yeah. Seeing that whole thing was interesting, and the whole conversation about how when he was gone, apparently I learned something happened during the show Echo, which I didn't watch.
I didn't either,
because that's the show that was like forgotten in time.
Yeah,
because like remember they dropped it all at one time and then didn't advertise it.
Yeah, I forgot about it too.
Because it was like apparently it's really bad. I didn't watch it, so it's not my opinion. That's just what I've heard.
Right.
And that's why like Kingpin was broken. Apparently Echo beat him up so bad, which is laughable. I'm sorry.
He got shot in the head in Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, but he was fine with that. But apparently Echo really beat the shit out of him.
I thought
all the times Daredevil did it, no big deal. But Echo really broke him.
Didn't she? Who shot him? I thought Echo shot him in the head in Hawkeye.
Was it Echo?
It might have been, because I think they mentioned that like she shot you in the head, and they just kind of brush it off of like he's recovered now. Maybe he was recovering in that show.
I'm going off what a friend told me is that during the Echo show, he comes back and she beats the fuck out of him.
Okay, so he was already recovered by the Echo show? Okay.
So he recovered from the gunshot, but then like being beaten up by Echo was too much.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to watch it now just because I want to see how they pull that joke off.
How they do that.
And that's not a female thing. That's just like Echo is like a quarter the size of Kingpin.
Right. And and Daredevil's like we know
Daredevil towers over Echo, but
as far as like power levels of street levels, I mean Daredevil's.
To my knowledge, Echo doesn't have any powers. No. She's just really good at kung fu.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not a big Echo fan, obviously. Anyways, so that's why he was gone during that time. His wife had cheated on him,
and then took over his business.
Yeah, and then in this episode, we learn in their therapy session that like he's dealing with the fact that she cheated.
It's funny. So let's talk about the therapy session for a minute, because like Katie was on the couch, and she is a therapist. Everybody watching this as I'm like watching, she's like laughing about the therapy session, because I turned to her and looked. I'm like, if you had two people sitting on a couch like this that were like the business that we run, I'm like, if these two people were being this sketchy about, would you just immediately think, oh yeah, these two people are criminals? Like how sketchy they're being about it. Like they run a criminal enterprise. Like,
oh yeah,
you could like it doesn't take a detective to figure this out.
Isn't there like a confidentiality there too. We're like, obviously they killed somebody. Right. That's the thing. But
yeah, there is. But
they can talk about crimes, and it's not a big deal.
Well, to a certain extent, if there's like people being harmed and stuff, yeah. But like, for them to be like, the family business, it's like you are murdering people.
Because that's the whole subplot of Sopranos.
Yeah, is that
is that the lady giving him therapy for his like panic attacks is what initiates the show. Like she knows he's like the kingpin of this like mafia group. In that show.
And I guess they had her sign a bunch of NDAs and stuff, but it's just like really funny how they handled the therapy on the show.
Yeah, it's whatever. Anyways, we find out that he has the guy that his wife was banging like in a cage in his basement,
and he's not eating healthy. He's eating like his sausage and peppers.
Don't get me wrong, as you know, somebody that grew up with an Italian grandmother, that meal did look fantastic.
It looked really good. I love sausage and peppers.
I do understand the sausage pepper pasta meatball mix is what got me to 300 pounds at some point in my life, but
it wasn't just that, Chris. It was 3 helpings of that.
Yes, there's 3 helpings of that chugged down with the Mountain Dew. That's what did it.
Hell yeah. I mean, there was a lot in that episode that didn't need to be there. It was for sure a filler episode.
Yeah, with an important moment, with 2 important moments for me. Like the Frank Cancel thing was important. Mm-hmm. Although it did make me laugh that no point did Matt Murdock be like, because he did show him the bullet case. Yeah. But no point was he like, are you the one that killed my client?
Right. Well, he did mention, he said they're copycats, right? But he never mentioned...
fanboys is what he called them.
Yeah, fanboys. He called them fanboys, but he never said it wasn't him, right?
Yeah. And so I thought it was important just to establish that Frank's around and where he's at. And then, like you said, the ending where we find out both of them are still kind of who they are, even though they're trying to pretend they're not.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, filler.
Yeah.
And a long political conversation about the justice system.
Yeah, I was like, damn, Daredevil getting real for a second here. I was like, when is the Kung Fu coming back?
Hopefully next episode, Mike. So. Hopefully next episode.
We get to see all the masks, so hopefully we get to see him put one on. I don't know, maybe. Yeah, it was definitely, I think, the lower of the 4 episodes. But next week will be the week.
I hope. Like I said, you got to episode 6 until I start bitching and moaning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Movie news and a recent interview. Wow, this is a name I have not heard in a long time. I thought he was just wiped out of existence. Jonathan Majors discussed being let go by Marvel Studios and a potential return to the role of Kang the Conqueror. He said in the interview about Kevin Feige and the situation, I really respect the man and what he's trying to do is extremely difficult. He's literally the architect and he trusted me and gave me a job. He changed my life, Majors said. In regards to Feige, my letter to him, I won't go into the details, but it was just to let him know I appreciate you and I know this is hard. I'm here if you need me, but he's got a million other things going on. So it was like a little flare. Majors went on to say that this letter was the last bit of communication he's had with Feige, and that Marvel Studios never responded. What are you going to do? That's all I needed, Majors explained. There are no question marks in the message. I wasn't asking him to do anything. I was just letting him know, hey, man, I understand you. I feel you. I love Marvel. Love, love, love Kang and all my variants. Yeah, so basically, it sounds like he wants his job back, and they're not communicating. So, yeah. I think
there's been some rumors that there's interest, but you know how those rumors go.
Yeah. Disney. Yeah.
So Jonathan Majors was dead.
Yeah.
And you know how it is, you're dead until you're not.
Right.
This is coming out because we were all focused on the important things like Kang the Conqueror when this all went down. And well, actually, let me put that aside. We were focused on the fact that he was beating up a woman at the time.
Yeah, right.
But in terms of his career, we were focused on the important things like Kang Conqueror. There was this other movie called Magazine Dreams.
Okay.
That was also shot prior to him being convicted and everybody like hating him. And that I just saw it. That came out 2 days ago as we're recording, Mike.
Wow.
So that's why we're finally hearing from him again.
Mm-hmm.
So this is apparently a potential return for him in terms of being an actor again. We will see. But it is I was just looking up while you're talking. It is advertised everywhere as Jonathan Majors Magazine Dreams.
Wow. So
he's very prominent on everything involved with it. So they must be comfortable enough where they think they can do something with it.
I hadn't heard of it at all.
Well, yes. was supposed to release in 2 years ago.
Oh.
Real quick skims, just reading headlines, whatnot. Mind you, not doing a ton of research on this. Mm-hmm. It looks like it was like an Oscar bait movie.
Oh yeah, one of those.
Yeah,
classic.
Like an Oscar bait movie 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I guess we'll just wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I just recast. I just want Kang back. I
don't care who plays him at this point. I mean, Marvel and Disney have enough money to do whatever they want, really.
I'm all for, like, I don't condone what he did, obviously, but I'm all for a redemption arc for people. And the thing that really like hurts about this from like a fan of just what he does is he was such a good actor.
I know he was. Like, he really was.
That Lovecraft show he was on was so fucking good.
I did really like that show.
Yeah, so I need to see a redemption arc though. I need to see him try.
Yeah, because like nowhere in that interview did he say that he acknowledged what he did, or I mean, at least in the section we have here. But
well, the only thing I'll give like pushback on, and it's ignorance here, he could be being told by legal counsel that he can't.
Right, that's true.
There could still be like shit going on with that, so he has to like wait for the legal system to deal with it before he can.
I guess we'll just wait and see.
Yeah.
We do have podcast news today, which is not always the case. DC Comics announced a new podcast series. What? DC High Volume, the audio drama series, will be adaptations of some of DC Comics' best storylines. The first will be an adaptation of Batman Year One, feature Jason Spizak as Batman and Jay Paulson as James Gordon, and many more. That's actually a really cool idea. I like that.
Yeah, I like audio dramas.
Yeah, I was listening to one on Audible for The Sandman. It was like a voice acting style thing that was really cool.
My father, of all people, listened to that.
Oh, really? That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I've listened to a few over the years, and I enjoy them, especially when they're well done. So I'm down for it. I already put it on my podcast app on Spotify. Uh-huh. So when the first episode comes out, I can check it out. But it's a cool idea. And it seems like they're going to do a bunch of different story arcs and not just, this one.
New episodes every Wednesday, starts April 2nd. That's cool.
Yeah. So
that's a cool idea. At first I was going to roll my eyes and be like, oh, they're going to talk about new books coming out. But no, it's completely different.
No, they've got that already.
Yeah,
Mike,
I know. I was going to say we're going to have another one of those.
But it's exactly what I need is another podcast to listen to.
Right, yeah, just
line up. I think one of my shows, I'm like 14 episodes behind right now.
Yeah, I haven't listened to anything in a long time between my audiobooks that I'm listening to.
Oh, my audiobook listening has died.
Yeah, there's so many that I just need to get caught up.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get right into the comic book news. Marvel's announcing some epic things. Announced the 5th and 6th issues of Godzilla vs. Comics, and it'll be Godzilla vs. Avengers and Godzilla vs. Thor. So we're getting all these different Godzillas, Fantastic Fours this week.
Yeah.
Godzilla vs. the Avengers are going to be written by David F. Walker with art by George Jean-T. So this is round 5 versus the New Avengers. Original New Avengers return to face an unstoppable enemy, Godzilla. In the aftermath of the massive battle between Godzilla, Fin Fang Foom, the Avengers and Jet Jaguar. Oh wow, they're spoiling a little bit there, huh? Tries to make sense of what went down, but everyone's telling a different story. What really happened during the fateful clash? Find out, and Earth's mightiest heroes take on Earth's mightiest kaiju. Awesome. I don't know anything about the writer though.
He did a Planet of the Apes book that I read, and I liked.
Cool.
So I can say I like that book. I don't know much past that. It feels so. We've talked about how they're doing like different eras of these characters, and we'll talk about Thor in a minute because I think the writer tells you what era that's in.
Yeah, right.
But this is set during Brian Michael Bendis' run.
Okay.
So if you look at the team, it's the same team that Bendis had.
Yep.
With like Wolverine on it and Luke Cage.
Amazing.
And apparently they couldn't get Bendis to come back to do it. So, but it is funny to me that of all of the issues, they got 2 of the lesser known writer-artist team.
Yeah.
To do the Avengers of all of them.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But they made sure to let you know it's the New Avengers.
And I think it's interesting it's the New Avengers. Yeah. It's an interesting decision.
This one is epic. Godzilla vs. Thor So we know what era this is happening in. It's written by Jason Aaron, art by Aaron Cooter. Round 6 versus the God of Thunder, a deadly group of assassins known as the Hand have bestowed Godzilla with the power of the beast Krakoom. Thor must defend Midgard from Godzilla, but at what cost? Yeah, those comic covers they have are epic. Thor versus Godzilla. Now this might be like the best one of the series. Jason Aaron writing it. It's amazing.
Jason Aaron back on Thor.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite Thor run of all time. Godzilla with the power of the beast.
Yeah, what the hell?
It's insane. So, this is really cool. I'm super excited for this series. Like, I'm even excited for the Fantastic Four one that's coming out, and it just gets better and better with each one, in my opinion.
In the Fantastic Four one, if they don't blow up the Thing to make him the same size as Godzilla and fight so he can go toe to toe with Godzilla, I'll be really upset if that doesn't happen.
That's the missed opportunity right there.
Yeah, these are going to be a lot of fun. I'm glad that they're sticking with it, and they're not just throwing it to the wolves. We got good people working on good sections of stories. This is going to be part of Jason Aaron's Thor omnibus at some point. This is part of his legacy of Thor. People are going to be like, remember that amazing Thor run? It's like, yeah, and he had Godzilla.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting as I was looking through them, like, okay, Fantastic Four is being written by Ryan North, who currently is writing the book that you're really liking.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about more in a second. All the other ones are written by people who are not currently writing that book.
Yeah. Right.
Like, you would think that Thor, and as somebody that's not a big Al Ewing fan, I'm happy that it's not him. But you think the Thor book will be written by the current Thor writer, Al Ewing?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Maybe Al Ewing was like, nah, fuck that. I don't want to write about Godzilla.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm excited. And then, I'm going to talk a lot about Fin Fang Foom later in the show, but yeah, give me more Fin Fang Foom in the Marvel Universe, please.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I want a giant green dragon.
Hell yeah.
Who can talk.
Why not? Yeah, just like Dragon Ball Z.
Exactly.
Marvel announced that in July during the events of One World Under Doom, they'll be relaunching the Fantastic Four series with a new #1. It's going to be written by Ryan North, surprisingly, with art by Humberto Ramos. So I think that we're finally going to get into a main continuity storyline, because originally these were kind of like one-shot stories. Beginning during the events of One World Under Doom, also helmed by North, the Fantastic Four face Doctor Doom in the fight to save the world, until it suddenly goes catastrophically wrong, setting them to 4 different eras in Earth's history, alone and isolated, and wildly different time periods. Reed, Johnny, Ben, and Sue all have to fight to survive. Their only hope is to reach Forever Stone, a mass dense granite that happens to be one of the longest lasting rocks on the planet, which, through a combination of obscurity and raw geological luck, has stayed both intact and accessible for most of Earth's history. Yeah, so we're getting a new #1. It's going to be Fantastic Four. If you didn't think you were going to start reading Fantastic Four and you wanted to read One World Under Doom, they thought of that for you. They're making a new #1 just for you guys.
I gotta be honest with you. When Secret Wars ended, I really hoped that Hickman was going to jump back on the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And I don't know, did you ever read Secret Wars back then? No. Okay, so it ends with the Fantastic Four going off to rebuild the multiverse.
Okay.
And I wanted that book. Like, fucking the Fantastic Four and, the Future Foundation, just, rebuilding the multiverse.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah. And they never did it, because that's the whole Fox Marvel Studios era where they wanted to, get rid of all those characters.
Right.
So the idea of the Fantastic Four, throughout time, and, a Back to the Future-esque, time travel.
Sounds really dope.
I'm actually think it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. North has been doing a good job. I'm glad. It was probably an opportunity for him to leave the book if he wanted, but I don't think he wants to. So
this feels like One World Under Doom was his second act, and this might be the third, or
right,
or possibly this is the second act of his story, where he really wanted to get to this point. I also think it's hilarious that on Marvel's website they spelled world wrong.
Oh my god!
So everybody go there and
One Wallward, WOLRD, Wallward.
Yeah,
nice. An intern was fired, I'm sure.
But I won't pick it up because I got too many books.
Yeah, there's just too many books.
If there was a Fantastic Four book that sounds interesting to me, this is it.
Yep. Marvel announced the return of Marvel Knights with a new 6-issue limited series called Marvel Knights: The World to come from writer Christopher Priest and artist Joe Quesada. Wow. Developed and almost already completed in its entirety, Marvel Knights: The World to Come is a 6-issue series where Quesada and Priest combine their decades of experience crafting masterful comic book sagas, in case you didn't know who Joe Quesada was, to produce an entire new vision of the Marvel Universe. The story begins in Wakanda, with startling developments centered around T'Challa, Storm, Shuri, and more that will reverberate across the globe, changing the Marvel mythos as you know it. Man, I feel like I read that line every week. And boldly reinventing its most legendary heroes. Definitely read that one every week. The King of Wakanda is dead, leaving unguarded the world's most advanced technology, but most precious metal and cryptic vault of dark secrets, while triggering global conflicts among Marvel's heroes, villains, and mutants. With T'Challa gone in the future of the Marvel Universe teetering, vibranium knife edge, a tribal challenge ensues for the Wakandan throne, and its mysterious victor will emerge as the new leader of Wakanda and usher in the world to come. Yeah, not something I'll be checking out.
Something I will be checking out.
Yes, yep.
Marvel Knights is an important imprint for me because that was those were some of the books where people were, when I was first getting into comics, were like, you need to read these.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that was thrown at me because everybody knew what a fan I was of his was Kevin Smith's Daredevil.
Yeah.
And which Joe Quesada was the artist for.
Yep.
So I love Marvel Knights. I'm always down for when it comes back. But this feels like them trying to do a Kingdom Come-esque story with that.
Mm.
Christopher Priest, a longtime Black Panther writer,
Mm-hmm.
so I get why he's there. I'm sure he's had this story in his head for a long time. And honestly, it's kind of like, Batman Hush 2 comes out this week, Mike, and I'm excited just to see Jim Lee do interior art. I will pick this up just because I'm excited to see Joe Quesada do interior art again. Yeah.
It's been a while.
So, mix all those things together. Yeah, I'm buying these 6 issues, 100%.
Nice. Quesada back is interesting.
He was one of my favorite artists for a long time, and then became the publisher, so wasn't really doing interior art anymore.
Yeah, he wasn't. Marvel announced a second ongoing Star Wars comic set in the time after Return of the Jedi. It'll be called Star Wars Dr. Aphra Chaos Agent, from writer Cherish Chen and artist Gabriel Guzman. After back-to-back hit 40-issue runs set during the original trilogy, Aphra embarks on her most unpredictable misadventures as the galaxy far, far away transforms in the wake of the Battle of Jakku. With her crimes pardoned, Aphra is enlisted by her friend Luke Skywalker to put her treasure hunting skills to good use on the behalf of the New Republic. I think good is more of a subjective term with the Republic versus the Empire. That's just me. Out from the shadow of the Darth Vader and in more trouble than ever, Dr. Aphra makes her way through the galaxy in an era of New Republic. The rogue archaeologist must team up with Luke Skywalker to track down a rare artifact. And what will she do when her tattoos no longer function? I know you're a big Dr. Aphra fan, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you can see right here I have my little action figure sitting.
Hell yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I am. So, and it says Star Wars in the title, so I'm picking it up. The cover is horrendous.
Yeah, those are pretty. I was gonna say something. Those are pretty bad, wonky covers. I don't know.
I think the third cover, the Sarah Pichelli cover, is my favorite. But the A cover is not great.
Yeah. And
I was actually reading it earlier. I'm like, please don't let that be the interior artist, and it's not. So,
man.
But Aphra's an interesting character. It's Indiana Jones in space, but she's also kind of a piece of shit.
So she's
when you meet her, she's working for Vader.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I always liked that character. I thought it was a good addition to the comics world, and I've been kind of waiting. We got the Star Wars book last month, in terms of the announcement for it. Now we got this, and then there's always a third one, which traditionally, Mike, was a Darth Vader book, but I doubt that's going to happen now that he's dead.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be in this series.
So I'll be interested to see if they do a third one and what it is. But for this, yeah, it looks really cool, and a character I really love. So
yeah, I think she's gotten really, really popular.
And 2 creators I'm not super familiar with, but Cherish Chen did that Radiant Red book. Did you read that?
I did. That was good. Yeah, that was good 6 issues that she did.
Yeah, I might have read it. I don't remember it though. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I liked it. DC Comics announced a sequel to the infamous series History of the DC Universe. which will be called New History of the DC Universe. Because the history's changed, folks. The 4-issue limited series will be written by Mark Waid and art by Jerry Ordway and Todd Knock, and issue 1 and other artists to be announced in the future issues. Issue 1 will be chronicle Barry Allen's journey from the birth of the DC Universe and the creation and the rise of the JSA. You better believe I'm fucking reading this shit. This sounds awesome. And those, the covers too with the JSA on them and stuff, my god.
Dude, that Chris Samney cover, wraparound cover is so nice.
What the hell? It's insane. I think they fit every
I'm trying to figure out who the 5th cover is. Is that an old George Perez piece?
It looks like it, yeah. Yeah,
it's so small on my screen, I can't really tell. But
it looks like the old George Perez.
I just feel like Perez is the only one crazy enough to draw something like that.
Yeah,
but
yeah, for sure.
Dude, fuck yeah, I'm down for this.
Yeah, this looks amazing.
4 issues?
Yeah. Mark Waid?
Yeah.
Dude, this sounds awesome. I can't wait for this.
Yeah, this is really cool. I kind of feel like at this point in my life, if I see Wildcat on the cover of a comic book, I'm going to pick it up.
Hell yeah. Now you've learned, Chris. It took you a few years to get there, but man, people used to laugh at me when I would say Wildcat is one of the greatest DC heroes ever. Little did they know it's what Wildcat brings to the table.
Look at this goofy motherfucker in his all-black costume. It's amazing.
And his whiskers.
I love it.
He's got whiskers. That's the most important part.
Yeah. Oh, I read this the other day, and I couldn't believe it was happening.
I know.
And yeah, it's great.
And you got like Batman with the purple gloves, Superman with the original. Yeah. What a cover.
I didn't catch the purple gloves. Yeah.
This first appearance. You got like, yeah, this is crazy. You have Hawkgirl on there, which... No Hawkman though. I don't know if we'll get a history of Hawkman. Maybe just
I do enjoy like the way it's laid out. It's Aquaman swimming towards Hawkgirl who's flying with the doves.
Yeah. I love that cover of the girl with the skateboard.
Yeah.
Looking at the billboard saying wow. I think that is so dope.
Yeah.
I want all these covers for real. Like I really do.
Well, and that wraparound, so the cover you're talking about, below it is the wraparound cover version of just the billboard.
Okay, yeah.
That'd be one.
And Jerry
awesome
Ordway working on it's a big deal too. Jerry Ordway was one of the artists for Crisis back in the day, so this is a big deal.
Yeah, crazy. I'm so excited for this. This is huge.
DC's like, oh, you got Quesada back? All right. Bam, you're gonna learn about the history today. Yeah, this is really cool news. I'm excited for this. Please teach me, Mark Waid, all I need to learn.
Yeah, let me just say right here, we could stop here with the news, and this would be an amazing news week for me personally.
Yeah, it's only going to get crazier. Image Comics announced a new series called Gehenna. I'm not going to ask you for help because you probably don't know either. Naked Aggression.
I think you killed it.
Gehenna Naked Aggression from writer Patrick Kindlon, Marco Ferrari, and artist Maurizio Rosenweg. There's a contract out in Gehenna, but she's managed to stay alive long enough that the contract has been resold several times as consolidated debt between criminal organizations. Now she intends to put a stop to the chain of custody on the contract with a bullet. Readers won't want to miss this edge-of-the-seat storytelling, inspired by Gun Honey and Electra Assassin. Yeah, this book looks awful. The cover... Like, who approved this shit?
Well, that's the interior artist too.
Rosenweg, who I've never heard of. Sorry, Rosenweg, but I hate that cover. I'm getting like Tank Girl vibes from this book. I don't really know though. I have no clue. Like
he did Dylan Dog, which I know people liked. I never read.
That's all right. I don't think we need to.
I'm trying to see what else this man's done.
Like this book just. Get a name that rolls off the tongue. Maybe it does. I'm just saying it wrong, but like I don't have any.
I might have to defend him.
You could read this book. I won't be reading this book.
I won't be reading it, but to defend his honor. So Patrick is the writer for Frontiersmen, which is a really fun pseudo superhero book. That's like super environmentalist politically. Like it's all about this guy he's a superhero for like trees and shit.
Okay, yeah.
Just defends forests, but he's a superhero.
That's awesome.
It's funny, but it's really good, and it's got some decent messages in it. Yeah, issues 2 through 5 are drawn by Maurizio Rosen, whatever fuck. And I thought they were pretty good. So that cover's not great, but
no, it's not.
I remember the interiors from those books were
good. It's like a Frank Miller cover. I don't know what's going on there.
Hey. Shut your mouth.
I don't know. Whatever. Maybe somebody will like it.
I'm still trying to find that Captain America Frank Miller cover.
Oh, good luck. This one sounds a little more interesting from Image Comics. Announced a new series titled News from the Fallout by writer Chris Condon, artist Jeffrey Allen Love. It's thrillingly dark sci-fi horror. It takes place in Nevada in 1962 during a nuclear bomb test that goes horribly awry. Dangerous contaminant gets released in the atmosphere, causing an apocalyptic chain reaction that changes the course of history, strikingly crafted with ashy black and white art. The comic gives the feel, or they didn't want to pay a colorist, a feel of turning through dusty pages of 60s horror comic, met with the experience of watching a staticky science fiction film. Fans of 60s sci-fi films and TV shows like Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, classic horror comics like The Vault of Horror, works of authors like Stephen King, Richard Matheson, they will enjoy the 6-issue miniseries launching in June. The new miniseries follows patrons of an isolated diner in the aptly named Atomic Alley of Nevada, who find themselves besieged by horrors unleashed by atomic blast at a secret army base located nearby. Forced to flee, the patrons are joined by a defector from the base, Private Otis Fellows, who must contend with hostility from without and within as the unlikely group journeys to the theoretical safe haven of Sin City itself, Las Vegas. Yeah, interesting that, again, I'm not a fan of this art, but I kind of get what they're going for. I'm looking at some of the interior pages they showed. It looks it's like a Sin City vibe with the white in their eyes and stuff. I don't know if this is something for me. I mean, I know they said like fans of the Twilight Zone and stuff. I don't really get the Twilight Zone from this. And also, I'd probably just rather read this. Hyde Street sounds like a better version of this, to be honest, right?
I'll push back on the art. I like the art.
Okay, if you like it, that's fine. I mean, I get what they're going for. It's just not something
I'll say I think he's a better cover artist than interior artist.
Yeah.
If you look him up, like he did one of my favorite Conan the Barbarian covers, which I believe was issue 12. And he has a fucking badass absolute Batman cover that he did.
No, I just mean for this book, I'm just
the vibes they're going for. I think the idea sounds cool.
Yeah.
6 issues, I'll give it a shot. As I said, I like the art, and it kind of reminds me of Department of Truth and how that book's laid out and how the art for that book is. Although that is colored,
yeah,
it has that similar style to the line art, at least from my eye. So I might check this out. We will see.
I don't know if you might not have room, Chris. These other books we're about to talk about, I can't even believe this one got greenlit.
Well, luckily, one of these, Mike, is a one-shot.
Yeah, but which I don't know how this got. I really don't know how this. I got to hear Kevin talk about how he landed this shit, because this is like, if you would have asked me like what book Kevin Smith's characters would do a crossover, so Archie Comics announced a new one-shot titled Archie Meets Jay and Silent Bob. When and where the fuck? What? Who does Kevin know to get this This is, I mean, like, how did we get from like Archie and zombies to Archie Meets Jay and Silent Bob? I don't care, but this is gonna be awesome. It's a double-sized issue written by Kevin Smith, art by Fernando Ruiz, Rich Kolosky, and Jack Morelli. Snoochie Boochies, Archie fans. Oh man, wow, yes, I read that right. Thank you. Acclaimed writer, director, actor, producer, podcaster Kevin Smith takes the teens in love from Riverdale on the wildest ride of their lives. What's supposed to be a summer job at Quick Stop for Archie, oh my god. And Andrews turns into much more. You're going to tell me that there's not going to be any dick jokes in this book? From a budding friendship with coworker Randall Graves crashing a Pussycats concert, a potential new love interest, Jay and Silent Bob being, well, Jay and Silent Bob, and a musical number that will be burned into your brain forever. Plus, can Jay and Silent Bob even help Archie to finally choose between Betty and Veronica? Snookins. Yeah, this is hilarious. I mean, seeing Jay and Silent Bob in that fucking in that like Archie style art is just hilarious.
I can't buy this comic hard enough.
Yeah.
That cover, which is the classic Clerks poster with Archie in it, in that style.
Yeah. And dude,
that's what sold it for
and
me,
it's funny because like they have Archie comics, but they also have Secret Stash Press. which is interesting that they even let him do that on the cover, right? Like, this is crazy. I feel like this is such a crazy crossover. I don't know how this came about.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's got to, like, Archie, the publisher, like, they do okay.
Yeah.
But they need to make splashes every so often.
Yep.
And amongst our community of comics people,
yeah, this is
pretty much the biggest splash you can make outside of like Archie meets Spider-Man.
Yeah, but like I wouldn't even read that. I would read this though.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit about Archie meeting Spider-Man. I want to see Archie meet Jay and Silent Bob and smoke a blunt.
And it's in the description. If you go to Archie's website, it is a mature reader's book.
Let's go.
Yes, Mike, there will be dick jokes in
Let's go. That's what I want to see.
I cannot wait for this. They also say there's some sort of like musical number in the book. So I'm thinking that the Pussycats are going to sing some like version of the song from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I cannot wait.
Yeah. This looks awesome. I cannot wait for this. Yeah. Damn. What a crazy week for comics. And we're not done yet, folks. Dark Horse Comics announced a new series titled Tex-Arcana from writer Christopher Monfett, artist Miguel Martos, America's melting pot for the unknown, ghosts and gods, angels and demons, horror stories and tall tales. They travel from across the globe to collide here in the rural heartland, and cowboy arcanist Avery Bell has spent a long lifetime with them. When a centuries-old land feud escalates into the supernatural, two warring families threaten a low-country apocalypse. Only Bell can unearth the truth. Tex-Arcana is Yellowstone meets the X-Files. God, why? Elmore Leonard meets Stephen King horror noir in the mystic Midwest. Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. Tex-Arcana. Yeah, he kind of looks like if John Constantine grew up on a ranch. Was what they should have said. Yeah, this is kind of interesting. I'm not going to be checking it out because I got too much other stuff to read. But that's cool. Dark Horse is doing this. I like the mystical.
Yeah, that's one of those like at any other point in my life, I'd be all over this.
I picked this up, yeah, for sure. But it's like, man, there's so much other stuff out.
It sounds so cool, but it might be a trade weight. It might be fall to the wind for me. But I think it sounds like a really cool book. And as Mike knows from off air, like I've gotten hard into Yellowstone.
Yeah, this is pretty on brand right now.
But yeah, and then creators I'm not familiar with, but I'm always down to check out new creators. This might be one of those like, it comes out on Wednesday. I go in the comic shop and I'm like, fuck, let's try number 1, see what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
But it also depends. Like if I'm buying too many books that week, I might be like, don't really have room to check the number 1 out.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like trade waiting might be it, but it's crazy. There's just
that's even tough because I say I trade wait and then I just forget about the book and it fizzles away in my mind.
There's a lot of books coming out. Oni Press announced the return. I never got into this series, but I heard it's really good. Six Gun, with a new series titled The Six Gun Battle for the Six. Series will be return to the original creators, Cullen Bunn and Brian Hurt, which is awesome. 1966, the ruins of failed Confederate uprising, a race to claim 6 objects of unfathomable occult power began, thrusting the fate of humanity into the hands of ordinary young women and a hard-nosed gunslinger who, together, were our last best hope to forestall Armageddon. At a terrible price, they prevailed, but that was then, this is now, 3 decades later. As the gears of new millennium begin to grind on the cusp of the 20th century, Six Gun is about to be reborn, one more, as it has been countless times across the eons. This time, however, a brigade of familiar fighters lies in wait to meet the Six Gun's nigh limitless power head-on, along with a secret cabal that wish to harness the unspeakable power to incept a new century of war, genocide, and suffering. Only one will survive to claim victory. The battle for the Six. Yeah, that's awesome for Cullen. I don't know how he has the time to write this and bring back Six Gun. I feel like I need to go back and read the original because I know the series is awesome. It looks sick. The art looks really good.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear you say that because this is one of my like shameless books that like everybody's like, you gotta read Six Gun, you gotta read it, and I just have never gotten around to it. Especially funny, like both of us being Cullen Bunn guys.
I know this is the one Cullen book we haven't read.
It's like his most like critically acclaimed book.
Yeah.
So good for him. I'm glad to see it come back if they have a cool story.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see that he brought back his original co-creator to do it with as well.
Boom Studios announced they're bringing VR Troopers to comics, a new ongoing series from Margaret Scott and artist Sebastian Perez. The VR Trooper is the most elite of Altarian Empire human heroes of Earth, but what secrets are the Altarians keeping when the VR Orion tracks down a rogue Skug? He'll come face to face with a foe who will change the understanding of VR and himself forever. Yeah, I have no knowledge or like history with the VR Troopers. The suits look badass. It's definitely like I don't know, Jet Jaguar. I don't know.
I did watch this when it was coming out.
Oh, okay, cool.
You remember how Power Rangers was like they took Japanese footage and then like here's some American people that turn into these Japanese people. That's what VR Troopers is as well. Like they took another show from Japan and like tried to do it again. And the best way to explain it is that meme that's like, "Mom, can I have Power Rangers?" "No, we have Power Rangers at home," and that's VR Troopers.
That's amazing.
It's hilarious that it's coming back, and it's even more hilarious if you look up the cover.
Yeah, I
like how good that cover.
Yeah,
is.
The art is amazing. I was gonna say the art goes so hard for this.
I just can't believe they like. I mean, Boom's gonna put all they can into it, but like that cover is so fucking good.
Yeah,
this original one. And then they got Christian Ward to do one as well. Like, I don't know. It could be something interesting.
It could be dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was more of a Beetleborgs guy myself, so never got into this.
I didn't see this, but apparently the concept art was done by Dan Mora. Like, how the fuck did Dan Mora have time to do
what? Why is Dan Mora getting involved with VR Troopers? He's trying to get on that Gotcha Man hype.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Like,
yeah, I do love that these people are digging for old properties that were popular in like the 90s. For like,
Boom has had a lot of success with Power Rangers.
Yeah, for sure. Why not jump on this? Yep.
Yeah, I'm down. Like, do all the IPs. Just
Mad Cave Studios announced a new series titled Blue Palo Verde from writer Ray Fox. Artist Ramonti, on her first day out of jail, Christine Woods discovers that her father has disappeared into a mysterious isolated town hidden in the New Mexico desert. Now it's up to her to find him and rescue him from a bizarre and unnatural threat. An atmospheric folk horror story of dread and redemption set in American Southwest, starting June 2025. Yeah. Looks kind of weird, mysterious, somewhat creepy. I know Ray Fox from some other stuff. Pretty sure I've read some of his stuff. But the interior art looks really good. Yeah.
Former guest of the show.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Some time back, right? Like last year?
Yeah, last year sometime.
Yeah. So cool. Cool to see him still doing some stuff.
Yeah. Sounds interesting. Looks good. Probably not for me, though.
Yeah.
I feel like if anything, this is more of a you book than a me book. But
it was funny because I was actually in the bookstore yesterday, not the comic book store, but I was in the like young adult graphic novel section where they have the imprint from Mad Cave. Is that Mad Cave? Or no, Boom Studios has the imprint of like kids books where they have like the they just have a bunch of graphic novels for kids.
Mad Cave has one of those too.
Is it Paper Cuts? Paper Cuts. Yeah, it was Paper Cuts.
Yeah, that's mad.
And I was looking at Paper Cuts, and I'm like, oh, I was talking to Katie. I'm like, I might have had this person on the show. Like, I don't know, it's hard for me to remember sometimes. She's like, well, aren't you over like 400 something episodes? I go, yeah, we've done a lot of interviews. It's hard for me to like, unless they weren't like a complete and utter like train wreck and asshole on the show, which doesn't really happen anymore or ever. It's like, it's not that memorable because we just do so many. It's just tough to remember sometimes. You know what I mean? I don't know. But, good on them. Mad Cave also has another book. Here we go with Imprints, or Imprint Paper Cuts. Announced a new original graphic novel titled 10-Ton Titan Terrier from writer David Papose and artist Ornella Greco. If you all listen to that amazing interview with Papose we just had, you'll hear about this. So we actually get the whole synopsis of an asteroid unleashes a horde of alien monsters known as Biotitans. Earth must turn to a suit of extraterrestrial battle armor to save the day, but there's just one catch, because the only creature on the planet capable of turning it on is an 11-inch tall terrier named Holly. With the Biotitan threat escalating by the second, Holly and her scientist owner Sam will find her unique bond tested as he trains mischievous mutt to become not just man's best friend, but humanity's only hope. Yeah, I said this when we saw it, I think on Kickstarter, right?
No.
No, it wasn't. Oh, okay. We just talked to him about it.
Yeah, so he showed us after the show.
After the show. Okay, so we got to talk with David Pose after the show about this.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for it. I will be picking it up because it looks amazing.
It looks like a lot of fun. I'll probably check it out when we get our review copy of it.
Yeah.
But the only thing I really have to say is there's two things about the press release that made me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's one thing about made me laugh, and there's one that's shows that this is like a mix of both of our identities together.
Mm-hmm.
But first, they say we're happy to announce our newest book by Ringo Award-winning writer David Pose. And then to the audience, they always put brackets with like other books they've done.
Yeah.
And the book they chose to have David Pose's name next to for their all ages, air quotes, kids imprint was Savage Avengers. And then also acclaimed artist Ornella Greco, same thing, with a book called Total Suplex of the Heart. And then what sold it for us, and he gave the same pitch, but it also says this is perfect for fans of Pokemon, the Iron Giant, and Godzilla.
Yeah. Sold.
I love all those things, Mike.
That's all I needed to hear, dude. I'm sold.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
A dog in a giant mech suit. We've seen that once before early on in the show's history.
Yes, we have. Yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm excited that Popose is doing all ages, so good for him. Wish him all the best. All right, let's talk about what we read this week, Chris.
I got a lot of meat.
Hell yeah. Some stuff that I caught up on. Hyde Street number 4. Focuses on the Frankenstein guy. I do like he's kind of like the has a similar origin to like Clayface, the like retired actor, a failed actor. Absolute Superman number 5. Great issue seeing the fall of Krypton. First mention of him acknowledging Brainiac. And then, like you said at the end there, he ends up in Smallville, so we'll see what that means. I think the twist is he might not be the only Krypton person on Earth. I hope so.
I think the twist is that Smallville is all Kryptonians.
It's all Kryptonians. Yeah, that would be wild. That he like. Yeah. Okay, I'm glad you kind of got that too.
Also, I didn't say it last week when I read it, but I like that when they mention Brainiac. So it seems like Brainiac's a person, right? Which I think they've hinted at throughout the. But also, they said that he has miniaturized versions of different cities.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so he is Brainiac.
Yeah, he is Brainiac for sure. Like he's collecting places. Some stuff I still got to catch up on, like Aquaman and things like that. But I read some stuff this week. New Gods number 4. I don't think you're reading New Gods, right? So that's why.
That was one I liked the first issue, but I dropped off on because, like we've been talking all episode.
This was a crazy issue. So the New Genesis is at war, and we get to see the New Gods like drop in with some awesome power. Like we get to see New Gods actually fight like gods. So like New Genesis is being attacked by an army, and so like the Allfather's like, all right, let's send in a few of our New Gods. Like you don't need an army, so they send in. I don't know their names. There's some like Light Ray is there, I think, but one of the dudes is like has like magnetic powers, and so he's like destroying the ships. And he's like making a giant like metal monster out of each ship. So the more ships he destroys, the more. So like they're like holding off this army, which is insane. The one of the New Gods, she has a bow and arrow, and she's like shooting arrows, like light arrows up in the sky, and they're just raining down. And so the guy who's like invading New Genesis is like, we can't land our ships. This archer is like holding us all back, and he's like, just throw every ship you have at her. And they're like, yeah, but that means not all of us are going to land. He's like, I don't care. We'll be able to land. And so, like, there's this epic shot of, like, all these spaceships flying down at her, and she's, like, trying to keep up, like, dude, this. And then, so, as all this is happening, the Highfather is like, there's this power I've been hiding, and now it's time to, like, maybe I should look on the other side of it and embrace, like, basically they've hidden, when they talk about the start of New Genesis, they've hidden a giant, like, mother box inside the planet. Like, that's how they created New Genesis. So he, like, walks into this thing and sacrifices himself to, like, become more powerful and, like, embrace, like, this power that he's been holding back. And when he walks out, he comes back as, like, the Monitor. So, like, Highfather's gone, and now we have the Monitor back. Who we know the Monitor is kind of, like, he isn't really good or bad, right? He kind of has a very stoic approach, like, chaotic, neutral, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes back. Maybe I think he's stronger now, and he's the Monitor. So we'll see what that means. Also, Orion.
It means a crisis is coming.
Yeah, it means something crazy is coming. And then we see on Earth, Scott and Barda have this child, and they're like fighting over it. But then Orion shows up and he's like, I knew I should have killed this kid. And then like Bardo like hits him and he like goes flying. And so they're going to start fighting. This was like the action issue that I wanted to see. This book, oh man, this is one of my favorite books. Ram V is doing such a great job. The art's amazing. How he's treating these characters like gods. That was the one thing that always bothered me about New Gods, is they all just kind of like sit around and talk. Like, these people have gods in their name. Let's see them do some work, Really great issue. I really loved it. Absolute Flash #1 by our boy Jeff Lemire.
Okay.
Former guest of the show 4 years ago. I don't know. I'm reading every Absolute book, everybody. That's just it. I'm doing it. Nick Robles' art was really good. Interesting first issue. It's so we have like Wally and Barry living on army base. Wally's dad runs the army base. Barry is investigating something for the dad in this lab, and Wally doesn't have a lot of friends, so he's kind of like hanging around with Barry. He like stumbles in on Barry doing an experiment and like fucks up the experiment and gets transported, like blows up the place. I don't know if he gets transported somewhere or they're still in the desert, but it looks like Barry Allen's dead. Like, he's a skeleton. Wally gets these powers, and then we get like these, I don't know if the army sent them after him. It's hard to tell if we're like in the future or not, but the rogues show up, like Captain Cold, Boomerang, and it's all like different, it's like a harder, grittier version of all of them that are like chasing Wally now. And then we see somebody that kind of like discovers the lab and what they were doing, and it almost looks like there's round glasses, so maybe Hugo Strange. They're setting something up. I think, focusing on Wally's cool. Killing Barry Allen from the start is kind of like, okay, he's dead. We'll get that out of the way. I really liked it. I thought it was a solid first issue. Jeff Lemire's doing something cool for sure.
I want to. Like, it's really hard not to buy them.
I know you've never read a Flash book in your life, though.
Have you? That's not true.
No, you did the Grant Morrison Flash stuff.
Yeah, I've read the Grant Morrison. I've read the Jeff Johns. Okay. Some of the Jeff Johns. Yeah, and the Mark Waid run for a little bit. Like, I've read some.
Oh, okay.
That's not Flash guy.
Yeah.
And then whatever the New 52 Flash was, because our retailer's the biggest Flash fan in the world.
Yeah.
So he's like, you gotta get Flash. Like, you gotta. Okay. I regretted that pretty quick. No, it's not that. There's so many books.
It really is.
And like, Absolute Flash, Absolute Green Lantern, Absolute Martian Manhunter. And the problem was they never said whether they're miniseries or not.
Yeah.
But they have said since then that Martian Manhunter is a miniseries. And I just remember, I'm like, I would have probably bought it if I knew it was a miniseries.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to get caught up in another ongoing.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't say any of that.
But they haven't said about the other two. And I'm just not. Although, honestly, I don't think Green Lantern looks that good, but maybe it will be.
I'm reading them all. I'm in.
I know you're going to let me know.
I'll let you know.
I read the synopsis and I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, this is solid. I really like this. Especially
does he run really fast in this episode?
Yeah, he does.
First issue, I mean.
Yes. Absolute Batman #6. This is a wild issue. Yes. Scott Snyder does it again with this fight with Black Mask at the end, and he stabs him in the eyes with the. This might be the first time I've seen Batman do anything with the ears on his suit.
Yeah, how they
they
shifted forward,
stabs him in the head. Yeah, that was pretty epic. We get so this is the resolution of like taking down Black Mask and what he was doing in the city. Putting a bounty on all the people helping the city. We get an epilogue with a man behind the curtain who looks like the Joker, but he's got like the alien thing from Total Recall like sticking out of his stomach. That's like Quaid. So that was kind of wild. But then he says he's basically like a kingpin boss, because he's like, okay, Black Mask failed, send in Bane, and I'm just like, hell yeah. Scott Snyder gets it. We don't want any more Joker. We have this rogues gallery to go through. I'm so excited to see a Bane story. That means another 6 issues maybe of Bane. I'm pumped for that. So,
I would think.
Really, really love Absolute Batman. I mean, it's awesome. It's epic.
I had heard somewhere that there's like 3 years worth of scripts already handed in for this. So if you remember, Mike, because I remember you rolling your eyes at issue 1 when we got Joker.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's the same character.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell because Dragotta has a thing with faces.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's not very good.
But I'm pretty sure you're right there.
Yeah.
I thought my favorite part of the whole issue was he jumps on the yacht that Black Mask has, and he throws off the 2 people. And the third one comes out, and she just looks at him and just jumps off the boat.
Yeah, she just jumps off. She doesn't want anything to do with it. She's like, no, I'll do it. I'll do it for you.
I've been kind of waiting for the big difference between this and regular Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that him stabbing Black Mask in the face was going to be it. Because I thought he was going to kill him.
Right. Me too.
But somehow that didn't kill him. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I also really like that we find out in this issue all of his friends who are the Rogues Gallery we know, like Oz and Killer Croc and all them, now know he's Batman.
Mm.
It was another big moment too.
Yep.
So some cool things happening there.
Yeah.
And I really like that issue. Really liked it.
It was very solid. Redcoat number 10. This is the Annie Oakley issue. Another issue where the Northerner shows up at the end and he's like, I'm gonna get him. This has happened like 3 times now. It was a fun show. It was a fun episode. Or show. God.
Issue.
Thank you. Yeah. So, Redcoat's been going across time, hitting up these iconic mythos people. Annie Oakley's one. He has a shooting competition with her, and then he's got to save this family. And then maybe we'll finally meet the Northerner. It's been a fun few issues, but yeah, I'd like to see something happen there.
It said at the end of the issue that the next story arc is with the North.
Yeah, so it feels like we're done with these. I'm guessing all these people might show up in this next series that we've seen across.
I think he's setting up the fact that like these characters can be one-shots in the future.
Yeah, they're gonna have a Redcoat Avengers or something.
Or just we can do a one shot after a big story arc.
Yeah.
Here's Johnny Appleseed or here's Annie Oakley again, and do that. So I kind of like that they did these little one shots. But yeah, I was at the end kind of okay. I'm ready for a big story arc.
Give me these
one shots.
Give me some weight to it.
Yeah, you're better off doing the big story, the 6 issues, and then like one shot, and then the big story, and then one shot.
Right.
It's been 3 issues in a row with one shots?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, it was 3. Yep.
So I think it was a little just too much at one time, but yeah, I'm here for more of these characters just down the line. I just want to see the Northerner. I want to see him fight somebody.
Yeah. I want to know why he's here.
But I do really love this book. Yeah.
No, it's still a great book. And then last book I got to this week was Geiger number 12. Yep. Great issue. Radioactive person tries to get, I don't know her name, I can't remember. Tries to get Geiger to control his powers.
Radioactive man lady.
Yeah, radioactive man lady. Gets him to try to get him to control his powers, but he like always ends up like blowing up. So she tries to get him to fight this crazy religious cult, and he blows them up, which doesn't really matter because they're crazy and killing people. But she was actually lying to him. She has the doctor of like the nuclear stuff keeping like locked up in her bunker. So she's been lying to him, and we don't know why. So hopefully we can figure that out. But it's still a solid issue. I think he's still struggling to contain his powers.
Yeah, and we got her origin, although that might not be the complete truth, Mike.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Oh, it's funny, when I was stacking my books that I read this week, I put 3 on top, and I was like, well, I'm pretty sure Mike read these 3, and right in a row, he picked them.
That's funny.
That was everything you had?
Yeah, that's all I got to this week, yeah.
All right, Mike, let's start with the most important book to be written all year.
Yeah.
And that is Sonic the Hedgehog Cross DC.
I saw that, yeah. I'm happy for you.
So, it takes place in Sonic's world. Something has come, and they're trying to figure out what it is, and it's Darkseid. Mm-hmm. Of course it is. And Darkseid's decided to get the anti-life equation. He needs to jump through the multiverse to find it. And he finds Sonic's world.
Okay.
And sends a bunch of his parademons out. So they're fighting him, and it's all Sonic's crew and everything. And then slowly throughout, different DC characters are meeting the Sonic characters.
Okay.
And it's all their like contemporary. So Sonic meets the Flash. Shadow meets Batman.
Nice.
So on and so on. Until they all come together, and there's like that whole conversation of who are you? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And what brings Knuckles into the fray is that Darkseid sends Caliban to Knuckles Island to destroy the giant Chaos Emerald that he's supposed to be protecting.
Okay. Because
that's the only thing that can stop Darkseid in his mission. And his mission is to go across to all the different areas and find the Chaos Emerald. If you ever played Sonic the Hedgehog, there's a Chaos Emerald in every like area you play.
Yep.
And if you collect all of them, you become Super Sonic and go to the secret area.
Hell yeah.
So that's what Darkseid's doing.
Yes, that's amazing. That is the best story.
And when they get to the Green Hill Zone, they see that Darkseid has arrived and he's got one of the emeralds at the end. and they're like, "Oh no, what are we gonna do now?"
Yeah,
it's stupid fun, Mike. I loved it every second
awesome.
of it.
It sounds amazing.
I read most of these are from last week, but we'll jump through. I read Assorted Crisis Events #1. Mm-hmm. If you remember this one, I picked it. I'm not going to continue with it. I picked it up. I wasn't too thrilled with what they were doing. It's about this girl who. It's another one of those like my expectation for it isn't what they created, and it's messed with my perception of it because. At the end of the day, this issue is all about this girl who works a minimum wage job and how she struggles to get by.
Okay.
The backdrop of it is cool. That it's like this world that's basically dealing with crises in time. Mm-hmm. So like things just happen and the world is constantly shifting around people. And like one day you could just walk out and World War IV is happening in your front yard. Yeah. But the story they're telling inside that world just didn't do it for me. Mm-hmm. So unfortunate, but they can't all be winners. What is a winner though is Nick Fury versus Fin Fang Foom, #1.
Insane.
Takes place prior to World War II.
Wait, is Fin Fang Foom missing an eye too? Are they both missing an eye or no?
No.
Can I imagine that? Okay.
This is also Nick Fury pre-eye patch.
Pre-eye patch? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So he's working with his friend and they're doing these like flyover things to make money inside the States pre-World War II. Mm-hmm. So they even mentioned that Japan's fighting China, and there's like hints that America's going to join the war and everything. His friend convinced him to go to this mission to help out the Chinese, I believe it's Chinese, but there's something in the way, like something keeps fighting them, and they don't know what it is. It's this giant cloud. Mm-hmm. It's Fin Fang Foom, Mike.
That's amazing.
So they go over and they fight Fin Fang Foom, and they make sure to mention this is 25 years prior to his introduction to the Marvel Universe. So this is his new like first appearance in terms of continuity. Mm-hmm. And he fights him. He goes back into his cave where he's like, I'm going to sleep for 25 years, but I'll be back. And then that's like whatever issue he's in. And that's really it. Mm-hmm. And Nick Fury goes and joins the army, and that's his impetus to get into the fight and help out with World War II.
Nice.
But it's a fun, stupid issue where he's on a plane. It's Nick Fury on a plane, like on the propeller wing side, like shooting a gun at Fin Fang Foom.
Oh my god,
that's all I need, Mike.
Yeah,
I'm a simple man.
That's amazing.
Hell Hunters #4 came out, and basically the two things you know about this issue is that Bucky Barnes. Remember, this is World War II,
right?
Bucky Barnes gets into a tank with the Ghost Rider of the time. And is shooting a machine gun that's shooting hellfire bullets at people. And it's a phenomenal sequence.
Oh my god.
And then at the end of the issue, they are going to fight this demon that had killed the Ghost Rider dude's friends and is trying to take over Europe for the Nazis. So the demon that created Ghost Rider made it a pact with the entire team and gave them all the power of hellfire. So now it's Nick Fury and Wolverine and all these other characters that also have like semi Ghost Rider powers and are just going to fight a swarm of demons next issue.
Amazing.
So I'm sure that's going to be the best.
Hell yeah.
Real quick, Rogue Sung 25 came out. This is the beginning of the new era of that. And it's good, but it's not going to change your mind if you weren't liking it before.
Yeah.
A Star Wars Legacy of Vader #2. Kylo Ren goes to Tatooine. And he tries to find Watto, which I was really hoping he would.
He doesn't.
Because I just wanted Watto back. Because I love that little bastard.
That's funny.
But basically gets told, like, hey, your grandfather was once a slave. And this is who imprisoned him and everything. And now, like, is going to the hut that enslaved Darth Vader, Anakin. And off to get revenge. And that's kind of where the issue ends. Is him, like, face to face with that person. Bug Wars #2. Our lead character here realizes that his amulet gives him basically superpowers.
Sick.
So that he can shrink down, he can get really tall, and he's also like kind of strong. But it doesn't work all the time because there wouldn't be a story if it just worked all the time.
Yeah, of course not.
And he gets captured and is sent to this city in the backyard that has a Thunderdome, and now has to fight against a swarm of mosquitoes for his freedom alongside and then they're building all this mythos, like the spiders are the witches, so they all have magic powers, and the beetles are like the brutes, so they're the ones that like are controlling the Colosseum and everything. It's an awesome book.
That's awesome.
Everybody's check it out. And I can hear Ahsoka, but I can't. Oh, there she is. One World Under Doom, number 2, Mike.
Yes.
Fantastic Four try to fight Dr. Doom.
Let's go.
But are not successful.
Get their ass kicked.
Doom is Dr. Doom. And in front of the whole world on TV, Dr. Doom decides to basically call Reed Richards a little bitch and then heals Ben Grimm and makes him human again.
Okay.
And says, I'm leaving now. You just destroyed the UN office trying to fight me, and I expect you to fix it, or else I'm coming after you. And then, fucks off.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the first half of the issue is him talking with Val, Reed and Sue's daughter, about why he's doing what he's doing. And it's kind of him talking to the audience, being like, this is the plan. And I just found it funny that if you want to get political, Mike, his entire plan is very similar to a certain political party in our time's plan. And he also shit talks anarchy. And I'm just the bad guy shitting talking anarchy. So that's interesting. Moving on.
Yeah. Amazing.
Quick Kickstarter book I picked up was Council Wars #1.
Oh yeah.
This is a post-apocalyptic story where all the mechs are based on video game systems.
I love that. That's amazing.
And the one that saved everybody from the kaiju that were coming through these portals was definitely not the Atari 2600.
Oh my god.
And they now have to create a new generation to defeat more monsters coming through, and it's definitely not the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Oh my god.
Art's okay. It's definitely a style and a decision. It's not bad. It's just, it's got that very indie zine quality to it.
Right.
But I did enjoy what they were doing. There's a lot of great Easter eggs for video game players.
That's awesome.
Fun book altogether.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
And then I finished up this week Batman Hush Volume 2.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know, it's a great book, Mike. What else do I have to say?
Yeah, it's good.
I'm infinitely interested on what Batman Hush 2 is at this point. Obviously, as you're all listening to this, it's coming out in shops, so we'll be reading it very soon.
Yes.
But I'm excited, but also how do you follow this up?
Yeah, that's my concern. Is I remember it being a pretty solid finale.
Yeah, it is.
So
very much. I mean, Hush comes back. No comic character's dead.
Right.
But this was a story, and it's at its core a mystery.
Yeah.
It's hard to go back and do something interesting again with that. But I will say, I was looking at it because I was doing this for the retro reread stuff I do. And so I'm reading all the creators, and I was reading who's doing Batman Hush 2. It's everybody. The inker, the colorist, the letterer. They're all back.
Wow.
So either they needed a paycheck really bad, Mike, or they have something they're proud of. So
we'll see, I guess.
But if you've never read Batman Hush,
read it.
Go do that.
It's really freaking good. What are you doing here?
So, but Mike, that was everything I read this week.
Nice.
Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter /X. Where can they find you and or the show?
You can find me at Fortress Chris on X and Blue Sky and all those fun social media networks that I just love.
Yes.
And also at chriscomicscorner.substack.com. If you want to follow the show, it's at Fortress Pod on all those social media networks as well, or at fortresscomicnews.com. Everybody, if you want to support the show, 5-star reviews on the podcatchers. Like, subscribe, share, comment down below on the YouTube version, and then head over to patreon.com/fortresscomics for more. Thank you all so much for watching and or listening this week, and we'll see y'all here next week.